This is Omar Miller, and you're watching the 3-Point Conversion.
To compete, I expect a fourth quarter urgency, a fourth quarter defensive mentality. And I think the biggest thing is starting with that sort of urgency from the first minute through the last minute. So I thought our guys played overall, you know, they weren't playing poorly throughout the game. A lot of it had to do with missing shots early. Orlando made shots early, and I felt like they came back down there in the second half as far as, you know, making threes. And we're just going to stick with our defense. But I just want to see the urgency that we had in the fourth quarter, and especially from the tip to the end.
Richard Walker.
Coach Borrego, you talked before last night's game about the bench needing to improve, and then you talked about how well they played to start the fourth quarter. What has your film study shown you from watching last night's game, and what was different?
Well, they really played great energy last night. They came in, they gave us a spark. I thought Miles was fantastic last night. He impacted both ends of the floor, played with great urgency, high energy. He affected both ends of the floor. Obviously, Lamelo impacted the game. He was a plus 15 last night, 8 assists. I think a number of those shots will drop tonight. You know, he had a couple bunnies at the rim that he'll normally finish. So I thought he had his imprint on that game last night. Cody Zeller is going to be, you know, going to have impact for us off the bench. I thought his numbers were solid last night. He's only going to get more and more comfortable with that bench. So there's a lot of energy there. There's a pace that group can play with. And you could put Caleb in there as well, you know, a two-way guy that can come in. Obviously, he didn't get a ton of minutes last night. I'd like to get him some more run tonight, especially on a back-to-back. So this is one of those situations on a back-to-back on the road where I have to rely on our bench, and they're going to be very important tonight.
Let's go to Danny and then John.
Coach Danny Thompson with a 3-point conversion. You mentioned last night that one of the more important things to do was to keep Cole Anthony out of the paint. And it seemed like there were moments last night where he was getting to the paint. After watching the film and seeing also in preseason, what do you think or adjustments that you're telling the guys to make tonight to make sure he stays out of the paint?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good basketball player. Obviously, he likes to reject pick and rolls. He gets you moving one way, he comes back. So it's really about staying disciplined, just staying into him. Obviously, our pressure is going to be important, but don't let him reject the pick and roll. Stay in front, stay square, keep him out of the paint. When he does start getting downhill, somebody else has got to help and prevent him from getting there. But I think overall last night, our paint defense was solid. What did they have? 36 points in the paint last night. A big part of that's going to be containing Cole. He's a big part of their thrust.
Go to John and then Rick.
JB, how are you, my friend?
Hey, how you been?
I'm doing great. Can you just talk about what it means to you? I think I was reading today that Gordon has 6 game winners in his career, 3 times in the last second. What that means to your team as far as knowing where the ball needs to go. Not that he's necessarily supposed to take the shot every time, but what it means to have that guy at the end of a game.
Yeah, it's huge. You know, to win in this league, you got to have guys that can make plays. And it's not always a tricky play that gets it done. It's just your best players making shots, making plays at the end. And he's proven that. He's one of those guys that's comfortable in those moments. That's one of the main reasons we brought him here, is that for that fourth quarter impact. And I go back to last year. Even last year, you know, our young guys, they made a lot of big shots. We have a group that has made big shots. Devontae's made big shots. Terry's made big shots. Miles has made big shots. PJ's made big shots. You know, you look at our track record the last year or 2 years, we've made big shots overall. And Gordon's a big part of that. He's one of those guys that can see over the defense. And I guarantee you, if there were 2 guys on him last night, he would have kicked it and made the right play. But the defense presented the rim. He took the rim, and it was a great read.
Good deal. Thanks.
Thanks.
Go to Rick and wrap up with Alex Fleming.
Hey, JB, you mentioned about clutch. You know, there's that insane stat right now. You guys are average, you know, are outscoring teams 56 per 100 in clutch time right now after everything that happened last season in that regard. Do you have any feel for why a team that's fairly young and in some ways new to each other has been so good at a time when there's so much?
Yeah, we talked about it last year, Rick. They feel comfortable in this moment. Maybe they just don't feel the pressure. I don't know. I think they're human beings and they relish the moment. They relish the pressure. Young guys, they stepped up into those moments. We did it last year and we've done it again this year. Part of it is execution. Part of it is, they're getting the shots that we want in the right places that we want. These are things that we work on and we teach and we develop. So I feel like they're more comfortable in these positions. But in the end, coaches can, draw plays. They can, put the right sets and spacing out there. But at the end of the day, players have to make plays and they have to make shots. And they deserve the credit. They've stepped up. They've made shots last year. They've done it again this year. We have more weapons here in the fourth quarter. People know what we're trying to get accomplished in the fourth quarter, especially in those last 4 or 5 minutes. So it really comes down to execution, Rick, and a little bit, and also just stepping up, making big plays, and our guys feel confident in those
Being more
moments.
diverse in your offense contribute at all to that? I mean, you know that you guys were very dependent on Kemba his last couple of seasons in Charlotte. I just wondered if there's any side benefit to having to have more people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more players you have that can make plays in those moments, the better. You never want to be predictable in those moments. I think for the most part, every team has 1 or 2 guys they're going to go to. But when you have multiple guys that can spread it out and make plays and make shots, you're going to be more dangerous in those situations. I was fortunate to be with a team that had multiple guys that can make plays, and it's dangerous. You don't know who to take out. You don't know what's coming, and you trust 2, 3, or 4 guys to make the right play. Most times you're going to get a good shot. It doesn't mean you're going to make it every time, but the more guys you have that are comfortable in those moments, the better you're going to be.
Wrap up with Alex.
Thank you.
How you doing, Coach Borrego?
Hi.
So from last week against the Toronto Raptors to this week against the back-to-back with the Orlando Magic, your team has found different ways to score and persevere. Lamelo Ball and Gordon Hayward broke out in the fourth quarter. Are they building unity amongst each other, considering that you're only about 25% through the season?
I'm sorry, say it again. That are Lamelo and Gordon more comfortable?
Lamelo and Gordon Hayward were the catalyst for the comeback last night. And the key to the game was probably the transition points that got you guys back in the game and took the lead. Are they building a chemistry with each other, considering that there's only 25% of the season that you guys have went through?
Yeah, I think our group as a whole has really good chemistry right now. For a young team that's just been together a short period, for us to move the ball and share the ball the way we are, to me, it says the team is comfortable with each other. It doesn't mean we make the perfect play every single time, but to lead the league in assist percentage right now this early for a young team is special. This is not easy to do. I think it does come down to some, comfort, trust, belief, buy-in to our system, and they're making the right play. And it's Lamelo, it's Gordon, it's Terry, it's Tay, it's Miles, it's PJ. It's really all these guys that are, trying to play the right way, and they're getting more and more comfortable with each other. But those 2 that you mentioned deserve a lot of credit for last night. But, Miles was a big part of that as well. Terry obviously contributed on the defensive end and made a big shot. So last night there were a number of guys that stepped up and helped us get that win.